Health officials step up surveillance for the Mpox virus. Government responds to garbage collection concerns. Concern about the impact of the heat on the local poultry industry.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Good evening, I'm Pearson Bowen. Local health authorities are paying close attention to the outbreak of Mpox in Africa, amid concerns that it is transmission to other countries. The World Health Organization has declared the upsurge of the infectious disease as a public health emergency of international concern. Well, moments after the WHO announcement, Sweden reported what it says is the first case of a more dangerous type of the Mpox outside of the African continent. Barbados Chief Medical Officer, Dr. the Most Honorable Kenneth George, says even though there are no local cases, surveillance has been enhanced. He says doctors and Port Health have been placed on alert.
We are encouraging doctors in the public and private sector that any individual with a travel history outside Barbados presenting with fever, flu-like symptoms, and a rash that is undetermined, that they seek medical advice. The isolation period is usually 21 days. Mild to moderate cases can be isolated at home, and only in severe cases hospitalizations will be needed.
Appealing to the members of the public to be vigilant at this time, Dr. George says the infectious and lethal strain of the disease is transmitted by close and intimate contact.
The disease starts with a prodrome or some flu-like illness, and later vesicles and toxins appear on all parts of the skin, including genitalia. It's very painful, and if not managed supportively early, can lead to other complications and unfortunately death.
Meanwhile, there has been a spike in respiratory illnesses on the island. Dr. George tells CBC News health authorities expected an increase in respiratory viruses, including COVID, following Cricket World Cup, crop over and emancipation celebrations.
We had issues at the psychiatric hospital and the geriatric hospital, which were put into the public domain. Those transmission rates have fallen off, and we will continue to monitor the situation. We have asked the laboratory to give us viral markers with respect to the new strains of either COVID or respiratory viruses, because I think it is both a mix of influenza-type viruses and COVID-19.
Dr. George says even though it is not mandatory for Barbadians and visitors to wear masks in public spaces, he supports the hospital's decision for masks to be worn in clinical spaces. He adds the public should practice hand hygiene and wear masks when around the elderly and those with non-communicable diseases. Now, owner of Felimar Plus Pharmacy and former president of the Barbados Pharmaceutical Society, Yolande Panton, says there has been a recent increase in public visiting her pharmacy for help to treat sinus-related conditions.
Yeah, they want something obviously to dry up the nasal congestion, so that once that is dried up, obviously then the post-nasal drip would then stop because you've dried it up with the medication. They're in alleviating the cough. But also they're still getting cough medication to go with it depending on the type of cough they have, whether it's a dry or a chesty cough.
In other news now, there's no clear end in sight to the country's garbage woes. That's because supply chain issues have caused a setback in the delivery of new trucks on order. This was confirmed by Prime Minister Mia Amor Motley as Parish Speaks Again visited the parish of St. Andrew. Shirika Griffith has those details.
We are having challenges with the garbage pickup because there are the problem with the truck. I would like you to order 2 trucks for St. Andrew.
It was this request from Whitehall resident Carlitha Andrews for special garbage trucks to navigate the terrain in St. Andrew that prompted Prime Minister Mia Motley to clear the air on issues affecting collection of late.
Even the trucks that we had already ordered and paid for, there's a delay in delivery. And I've said to them, look, in an ideal world, we might want to get electric trucks, but in this case, no, we need trucks. And buy what you can, and then we will work on the transitioning at the later stage, or look at biofuels as a means of ensuring that there's cleaner and greener energy with respect to the SSA.
Even as government deals with that issue, it is also dealing with another involving the Barbados Water Authority, illegal connections.
I ain't got nothing to say, no. I ain't got nothing more to say.
They will be dealt with.
I ain't got nothing more to say. I am not the Barbados Water Authority. All I would do is to tell people that they're playing with their own future and they're putting themselves at risk. That's all I can tell you.
As was the case at the last St. Andrew Speaks, transportation was a hot topic.
I went to the hospital a day, come pay a taxi $15 and come down bus stand to catch a 1:30 bus. I get a bus at 4:30 and get home after 6 o'clock. You think that's right?
In response, CEO of the Transport Board, Fabian Wharton, sought to explain the challenges at this time, particularly with the electric buses, which along with the retrofitted diesel vehicles have been identified as the best fit for St. Andrew.
All of the electric buses that we have, except the 2 that came in January, February, arrived in Barbados between July and September, in that range, which means it's a time for inspection. What we have to do is strategically pull buses out in order to make sure that when we get back into September, we can maintain the level of service that we have.
With the closure of some bridges also impacting public transport, MP Dr. Rommel Springer has revealed officials are working to have the Bruceville Bridge completed by March 2025.
Persons will not be able to walk across the bridge as they're doing now, so we are holding on the demolition of the bridge until such time as we know that that bridge is the bridge deck is on island, which should be within another 4 weeks or so, and then we could commence work on the demolition and the civil works as it relates to the footpath and the actual reconstruction of that bridge.
A number of other bridges are at the design phase and should take a year to complete. Sharika Griffith, CBC News.
The newly formed St. Andrew Development Commission wants government to revisit the Belle Plaine Community Plan and has received support from Prime Minister Mia Motley. Co-founder and director of the commission, Selena King, shared how it could benefit the parish.
Repurposing the police station, repurposing the hostel, making it a craft market, making the police station a visitor center, and creating historical paths and heritage paths for visitors coming into St. Andrew. When you leave Morgan Lewis, there's nothing to do between Morgan Lewis and Bathsheba. So what we want to do is ask the government to revisit the Belle Plaine National Plan, where it encompasses showing Belle Plaine as a national park and making it a tourism destination in Barbados.
Well, tourism officials are reporting a major uptick in arrivals for the first half of the year. The details were revealed at the Barbados Hotel and Tourism Association's quarterly press conference this morning. Crystal Hoyt was there. She joins me now with an update. Crystal.
Well, Pearson, a record year for Barbados so far, as tourism arrivals for the period January to June 2024 are up by 15%. This substantial increase is attributed to the recently concluded crop-over season, as well as the hosting of the ICC T20 World Cup.
We have welcomed 381,997 stay-over arrivals for this period, compared to 323,948 arrivals for the same period in 2023.
The majority of Barbados' source market saw a significant increase, with the USA arrivals increasing by 31% and both CARICOM and Canada arrivals surging by 16% this year compared to 2023. It is only the United Kingdom which contracted slightly by less than 1%. The BHTA chairman, Javon Griffith, says projections for the winter season are also promising.
The appetite for Barbados remains very strong, with early forward bookings from major source markets exceeding 2023 by 18%.
Now, Pearson, while all this good news was being delivered by the BHTA, planned layoff by Sandals Resort also came up. If you would recall, earlier this week, the BHTA chairman referred to more than 200 workers being laid off from Sandals Barbados as a seasonal norm for the industry. He said it's usually a period of low occupancy and hoteliers often use the time for maintenance and renovations. That explanation has now been called into question, however, because of a letter dated August 7th sent to staff from Grand Cast Management Barbados Limited, trading as Sandals Barbados. The correspondence formally advised that the company will be undertaking a restructuring exercise as a result of the projected economic downturn in a number of source markets. It invited staff to a one-on-one consultation meeting with the general manager, a human resource representative, and a note taker to determine ways to avoid redundancy, raise concerns, and discuss other alternative employment. When I asked the BHTA if it was aware of the Sandals Barbados restructuring exercise, CEO Ryan Ford had this response.
So no, they haven't made it known to BHTA in terms of what is the total changes or outcome. For us, the initial information is based off of seasonal, but what we've been notified on is that it's not only targeted towards Barbados. However, we've not been given the full explanation in terms of what is going on in the entire Caribbean region. So until we have that information, we wouldn't want to put out information on the entire corporation of Sandals. We've only been told on the downturn of business and those changes, but we don't know anything further.
Efforts to reach Sandals Barbados General Manager for comment were unsuccessful. Pearson?
Crystal, thank you. In other tourism-related news, U.S.-based carrier JetBlue is expanding its service to Barbados from the city of Boston. The carrier has announced its intention to offer 3 weekly flights on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays during the winter season. JetBlue will also maintain deployment of the airline's premium Mint service on the Saturday rotations throughout the season. Minister of Tourism and International Transport Ian Gooding-Edgell has welcomed that announcement, saying it reflects JetBlue's commitment to Barbados and aligns with his vision of continued growth of the tourism sector. Meanwhile, Chief Executive Officer of the Barbados Tourism Marketing Incorporated, Andrea Franklin, says the increased capacity will create more opportunities for business out of New England. That's a region receiving ever-increasing focus from both the BTMI and JetBlue. We'll take a break here, but coming up, chicken farmers warned to make changes to protect their animals from the heat. The Barbados Police Service complement has been boosted with the addition of over 50 new recruits. Those men and women formed part of Initial Training Course 148 at the Regional Police Training Center. Kishmar Singist has the story.
Among the 51 officers are 29 males and 22 females. Leading recruit is Police Constable Jonathan Peter. The new officers were told their journey has now begun. Police Commissioner Richard Boyce has encouraged them to be professional at all times. He says police officers have been making great sacrifices to keep Barbados safe.
I am glad that you have decided to become a part of the process towards maintaining that legacy, for you will be called upon to make similar sacrifices. Therefore, your duty from now on will be to fortify the foundation you have been given during this initial course and be an influence for positive change. Your career demands that you must know your job. As a function of this, you must become familiar with the general standing orders and instructions. be current with legislation and written directives and policies from the senior administration, which will guide you on what you should do in the circumstances which will be outlined.
Chief Justice Leslie Haynes wants the new officers to commit to self-improvement. He says citizens must have confidence in the Barbados Police Service.
You have that extra burden on your shoulders. And many things to contemplate. You will think as a police officer, should I go here in my off duty, when I'm off duty? Shall I go there? That will not suit my image. As Commissioner Boyce said, you must keep company with those who can uplift you, not those who will destroy your image.
Police Constable 2451 Jonathan Peter, the leading recruit, has expressed thanks to his family for their support, as well as his fellow course-mates.
It was a long and tough journey. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears went out to do the work that we did here at the Regional Police Training Center. But I would like to encourage anyone out there who is interested in becoming a police officer to take the step, take the leap, and join the service to do the good work that we're doing in our community. This has only been the beginning of this journey. Now is the next step, this next step in our journey, the next chapter for us.
Congratulations. Kishmar Senjis, CBC News.
The police are seeking your assistance in locating a missing 40-year-old St. Philip woman. Stacey Ann Nichelle Haynes of Bushy Park has not been seen since she left home on Tuesday night around 7. Stacey Ann is about 5 feet 7 inches tall. She's dark and of medium build. She has brown eyes, a space between her upper front teeth, and is wearing her hair in a ponytail style. Now, at the time, she was wearing a white, blue, and red Tommy Hilfiger shirt and long blue jeans with a pair of brown Michael Kors shoes. She has several tattoos about the body, including the word Davisha on her upper right arm, Hyacinth on the left forearm, and Tonisha with a drawing of Minnie Mouse over her right breast. She also has a tattoo on her lower left leg with candies and cupcakes. Anyone knowing the whereabouts of Stacey Ann Nichelle Haynes is asked to contact the District C police station at 416-8200, the police emergency at 211, Crime Stoppers at 1-800-8477, or any police station. And lawmen are tonight reporting they've captured Romaro Shane Rashan Lewis, alias Cartoon. He was the subject of a wanted man bulletin issued on the 8th of August. Police say he was arrested and brought into custody on Tuesday, the 13th of August, to assist with investigations. The Barbados Police Service thanks the general public for their assistance with the matter. A local businessman is advising small chicken farmers to put relevant infrastructure in place to prevent their animals from being killed by the heat. Managing Director of Gale's Agro Products, Barry Gale, says farmers should take note of the advice if they want to safeguard their investment and prevent thousands of dollars in losses.
Amid hotter than usual summer days, small chicken farmers are being advised to put measures in place to protect their animals from the heat. Managing Director of Gale's Agro Products tells CBC News several farmers run the risk of losing their animals if adjustments are not made to make chicken pens cooler.
What happens is that the heat, when it gets to be too much, they actually can start to die because they stop eating, they get weak, they aren't putting on size, they're susceptible to disease because they're in heat stress, and then you get a multitude of things going on. I think a lot of the challenge that the industry faces, particularly in the summer months, originates with the fact that it is so hot and that the chickens themselves aren't able to regulate the temperature properly.
Mr. Gill confirms that several small farmers have been asking for help to deal with the hot conditions. He says even though the heat cannot be blamed for everything that goes wrong on a chicken farm, it is the main reason farmers are counting losses at this time. The businessman recommends farmers place the birds in ventilated spaces, which allows 2 square feet for every chicken.
The old standard would have been 1 chicken for every square foot. in the heat of summer, I would have said 1.5 to almost 2 square feet per chicken, which means that you can produce less chicken. But ultimately, if you take these measures, then you'll be profitable because you're actually making money on the batch rather than feeding chickens that are going to die.
Mr. Gill is also advising farmers to pay attention to the water supply in pens. He adds efforts should also be made to prevent the litter from being moist.
One of the things that people can do is put a hose on the roof at midday, just a cool galvanized roof down. That retains a lot of heat and it sends the heat through into the chicken house. A quick spray of the hose at midday to cool the roof down will also help. Planting trees around your chicken house to give it shade so that it doesn't get as much heat. Anything that you can do to reduce the heat that's going into the chicken house will help to overcome the potential losses that heat and heat stress can give to a chicken farm.
Mr. Gill, who has been in the chicken hatchery business for many years, says he has visited several farms offering advice. Anesta Henry, CBC News.
Thank you, Anesta. The official funeral for former government minister, the Honorable Rudolph Cappy Greenidge, will be held next Friday, the 23rd of August. The service will take place at Coral Ridge Memorial Gardens in Christchurch at 10 in the morning. It will be followed by the burial at the St. Catherine Anglican Church in St. Philip. Viewing of the body will take place on Thursday, the 22nd of August at the St. Catherine Anglican Church from 3 to 6 p.m. Condolence books will be available for signing during the viewing and the funeral service. Well, Greenidge passed away on Friday, the 2nd of August at the age of 79. Time now for Sports Night as we're joined by the one and the only Anne-Marie Burke. Anne-Marie, good evening.
Good evening to you, Pearson. I begin with cricket news. West Indies will begin tomorrow's second day of the second test with South Africa, trailing by 63 runs at the Providence Stadium in Guyana. Winning the toss and deciding to take first knock, the South Africans were tortured by Shamar Joseph, who took 5 for 33 as they were dismissed for 160. Jaden Seals backed up with 3 for 45. At the close, the Windies were struggling on 97 for 7. Jason Holder is unbeaten on 33, while Mulder has so far taken 4 for 18. Regional Under-17 champions Signet Globe Financial Barbados got their title defense off to a winning start as they beat Jamaica on the 17th by an innings and 48 runs in the opening round of the 2024 Cricket West Indies Rising Stars two-day championship today. Resuming day 2 at the National Cricket Centre in Trinidad on 188 for 4 in reply to Jamaica on the 17th 103, Barbados declared on 236 for 7. Joshua Brash moved his overnight 59 not out to 84, including 5 fours and 2 sixes. Jamaica were then bowled out for 85 in their second innings thanks to 3 wickets, 6 runs from Jakeem Pollard. Well, Pearson, that's it for my first half in sports. So when I return, we're gearing up for the National Bodybuilding Championships.
Look out for me. Thank you, Anne-Marie. Stop it. We'll be right back with tonight's business reports. In business tonight, pig farmers are worried about developments in the industry. They vented their feelings during a press conference at the office of the Barbados Agricultural Society. Trevor Thorpe was there.
The importation of pork and the change of land use are two troubling issues for local pig farmers. Chief Executive Officer of the Barbados Agricultural Society, James Paul, made the point as Barnwell Farms, one of the leading producers, make plans to get out of the business.
We cannot, in all good conscience, have a facility like that is suitably geared for the production of pork, pigs. And then, because of the fact that present owners do not have an interest, that we should allow that to go into real estate. And that is the plan as far as I understand.
Chief Executive Officer of Barnwell Farms, Gay Reid, while not disclosing the reasons for changing direction, has urged Barbadians to support local farmers by buying local.
Over the years, the industry has seen a lot of favorable things done to it. For instance, like the industry has seen a lot of good genetics, number one. When you got good genetics, right? that's half the problem solved, because the good genetic means that when you get feed, you will get what we call a feed conversion ratio. And when you get the feed conversion ratio, it means that you can get what we call a better growth. A better growth means that you can get a faster growing pig, and with that faster growing pig, it means that the farmer out there, right, will get a pig to market as quickly as possible, and that cost and that savings will go back to the public. And I think that if we do things the right way, we should see a better pork industry in Barbados.
But Minister of Agriculture, Food and Nutritional Security, Indar Ware, says he is aware of the concerns and has met with farmers.
I've spoken to the arrangement for the importation of pork, something that has been put in place when a certain hotel came to Barbados, and a large amount of concessions that were granted. Until the pig farmers in Barbados get the guild program in place, until we improve the genetics, get back many of those who have scaled down to ramp back up production, the tackling of port imports is something that we're going to have to manage carefully.
The farmers are also calling for a greater look at the import licenses with regard to the importation of pork. Trevor Thorpe for the Business Report.
Government and other shareholders of Needham's Point Holdings Limited have received a payout as a result of the Hilton Hotel's good performance. Government is the main shareholder of Needham's Point Limited, which owns the hotel. Chairman Junior Warren says a 2 cents per share dividend signals the recovery of the tourism industry after the COVID-19 pandemic. He says it reflects the company's improved performance in the wake of challenges posed by the world order.
We are delighted to share the company's success with our shareholders through this dividend. The strong performance of Hilton Barbados is testament to the dedication of the board, the management team, the staff, and the resilience of the tourism industry. NPHL anticipates continued growth throughout the remainder of 2024 and maintains a positive outlook for the future.
Time now for tonight's trading report.
In Jamaica, Victon Wind Farm Limited ordinary shares with 1,864,168 units was the volume leader, followed by QWI Investments Limited and Trans-American Highway Limited. In Trinidad and Tobago, JMMB Group Limited was the volume leader with 107,000 shares changing hands for a value of Trinidad and Tobago $112,844, followed by the West Indian Tobacco Company Limited. And here in Barbados, there was no activity today on the regular market.
Anne-Marie is back with the second half in sports. Anne-Marie.
And of course, I mentioned that we will be speaking about bodybuilding, as the Barbados Amateur Bodybuilding and Fitness Federation is set to host its national championship at the Wildy Gymnasium this Saturday with one special innovation in place. CBC's Mark Seal reports.
The National Bodybuilding and Fitness Championships will aid in selecting the Barbados team for the 51st Regional Championships in Guyana. Public Relations Officer Ivor Worrell says the support of the public will aid in this process.
We'd like persons to give us the support, especially those older folks who've been around bodybuilding for quite some time. We'd like them to come out and at least support the event. You purchasing a ticket and coming to the event helps to make our trip to Guyana easier.
For the first time in the National Championships history, there will be a kids fitness category in partnership with the Barbados Gymnastics Association.
What is significant about this year is that we will be having for the first time a kids fitness category. We've partnered with the Barbados Gymnastics Association, and this is a good example of how bodybuilding and other sporting disciplines can partner to achieve our objective.
Also down to compete on Saturday is top bodybuilder Sanaj Lewis, Trudy Ann Bovell in the ladies' fitness, and Gerard Mason in the men's physique, all of whom are defending their titles. Worrell says the federation is looking not just for quantity, but quality when choosing the team to represent Barbados.
Barbados is a founder member country. We have won the regional competition more times than all of the other countries that have won it combined. So I think we may very well now have to shift focus as to sending quality athletes, not that they are not all quality, but the top tier, instead of trying to win the contest.
And he's hopeful that the team will perform well in Guyana.
Going to Guyana, to beat Guyana in Guyana, is going to be difficult. But we've been known to do such in the past. As usual, what I would expect is what we've always done, and that is to give of our best. So that is not going to be a difficult part.
Now, the full board of directors remain in place after last night's elections at the Barbados Cricket Association's 22nd annual special meeting at the Combermere School. 4 positions were up for election, with Calvin Hope and Jason King both returning uncontested for vice president and treasurer respectively. Pedro Graves and Clement de Pisa were also returned to the BCA Board of Directors after being challenged for their positions. Graves received 101 votes and de Pisa 61 votes. Of the challengers, Adrian Bailey got 48, Clinton Hill 41, and Patricia Greenidge 26. A mass Barbados Masters unbeaten run on their cricket tour of the United Kingdom is now at 4 matches. Today's fixtures against Broomley's Cricket Club ended in a no decision after rain ended play. Broomley's sent into bat were bowled up for 167 in 34.5 overs. Kyle Saddington top scored with 55, while skipper Anthony Morris took 5 for 24, Antonio Morris 2 for 27, and Aidan Allen 2 for 36. Mass Masters were 11 without loss after 2.1 overs when the rain put paid to the proceedings. Their final tour matches on Sunday against Draycott and Hanbury Cricket Club. Pearson, that's it for sports for tonight.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. Well, that's our time tonight. Thank you for spending it with us. I'm Pearson Bowen for the crew. To all of you, good night. By God's will, we'll see you tomorrow.